always on the go, but the day just won't be one without your Hollywood fix. Let Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast take care of that. An all-inclusive look of pop culture.
Hello and welcome to the GSMC Entertainment Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am happy to be with you on this Sunday, July 21st, where we have so many announcements, as you see by the title of this episode. So it has been San Diego Comic-Con, and there have been, of course, many, many announcements made at San Diego Comic-Con. If you got to go, that is awesome. I have never been to a Comic-Con, which is crazy, but not because I have anything against them. I just don't leave the house much. I gotta work on that. I need to go places, see things. So there were a lot of things announced at San Diego Comic-Con over the weekend, over the last few days, and we could have hours of announcements. We're just going to choose a few of those along with some other entertainment news. The entire episode won't be about San Diego Comic-Con, although it could be, and we'll just see where it takes us. The first announcement, though, that I want to touch on is that it was announced that Blade is being remade, and the star of it this time, it was Wesley Snipes originally, will be Mahershala Ali. You may know him from Green Book or Moonlight, and so he's known as the Daywalker, in case you are unfamiliar. And I've seen bits and pieces of the original Blade, but not much. So anyway, vampire Daywalker, Wesley Snipes played originally, and now Marvel has announced that two-time Oscar winner Mahershala Ali will be playing, and this was announced at Marvel's Phase 4 Comic-Con panel yesterday. According to one tweet, cannot process the level of awesomeness of awesome as hashtag Blade is announced, starring Mahershala Ali along with the first official logo art hashtag Marvel SDCC, and there is there's a picture of the new logo art. As of right now, there's no release date yet for when this movie will be in theaters. We don't know who will be directing it or co-starring it, but right now it is at least announced that we have a co-star, we have a new Blade. There are also now, of course, as happens when anything is announced, people have opinions, people have thoughts. There are people lobbying, however they lobby, whether it's just, hey, I'm saying this on social media, or whether there's a more formal movement that Wesley Snipes needs to be in the movie somehow, and maybe he does in some sort of role, but what that would be, I certainly don't know, and whether or not that would happen, I don't know. Also, when people lobby for this stuff, maybe he doesn't want to be in it. Maybe he's got something else going on. I don't know the man's life. At any rate, there is some question about whether this new one will be rated R. Who knows? But that is our first announcement from San Diego Comic-Con. What else? Also from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the MCU is easier to say, the new Doctor Strange movie will be the first quote-unquote scary movie from the MCU. This is according to CBR.com. There is a picture of, the Doctor Strange where he's got his hand up in front of his face and then his face is superimposed on the hand and all the, if you've seen it. Well, it's similar, but on the other side of his face, it's a skull, and it's sort of not a skull, but a decomposing, kind of looks like a walker from The Walking Dead, sort of gross. The Marvel Cinematic Universe, according to this article, was able to introduce the concept of the multiverse through the Ancient One's introduction to Stephen Strange back in 2016. With Marvel Studios' recently announced film slate, the MCU is set to explore that multiverse further with all the horror that entails, and likely with the Sorcerer Supreme himself leading that exploration in the sequel film, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. See, even the title sounds creepy. Kevin Feige, again, I have got to find out how to pronounce his name. I never look it up. Benedict Cumberbatch and director Scott Derrickson appeared on stage at San Diego Comic-Con, you guessed it, to talk about the upcoming film. And while they avoided giving away specific details, they did leave fans with some indication of what to expect. Derrickson described it as possessing a psychedelic weirdness, adding, "We're going to make the first scary MCU movie." It is too early to tell what that means, although Cumberbatch, who stars as the titular Doctor Strange, did clarify that the sequel would, quote-unquote, maintain the integrity of humor with the twist of horror that will have people gripped. He explained that Doctor Strange will be, quote, facing unexpected things. He'll be in the position of the audience with not knowing what's coming at him. He concluded saying, quote, "We're going back to trying to destroy him, I think." Wow. So there have now been 23 films that currently comprise the MCU. They've touched on a number of genres, aside from the obvious action drama, and they've had, let's see, coming of age films like Spider-Man Homecoming, hints of romance with characters like Captain America and Peggy Carter, lots of comedy with films such as Thor Ragnarok, but Marvel Studios has thus far never tackled a project that was part horror film, though there is certainly a lot of potential within the multiverse. After all, as CBR recently reported in the new What If Disney series, Marvel may introduce zombies. Yikes. So, at any rate, as I mentioned, it'll be Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness will be directed by Scott Derrickson, starring Benedict Cumberbatch and Elizabeth Olsen, and will be coming out May 7th, 2021. So we have plenty of time to discuss all of this and speculate on all of this and find out just exactly what is going to happen in this movie and how scary it might be. Also announced at the SDCC of the MCU, according to CBR, I just had to do that. It was announced that when they were revealing the cast for the Eternals, that Walking Dead actress Lauren Ridloff has been cast as Makari. And this is the Eternals. As I said, this is a bit of a gender bending casting because Makari is a white male in the comics. Another perhaps equally, arguably more important part of Ridloff's casting is that she is a deaf actress, and Makari will be a deaf superhero, a first for the MCU. I love her on The Walking Dead. I love that she pretty much tells Daryl exactly what he needs to do and not do, and she doesn't give ground to Daryl. I love her, so that is exciting. We'll see what the reaction is, because it is a very different. If he's a white male, then now we have a white male hearing character. Now we have a person of color, deaf woman playing the character, but that's okay for me. But I don't have a stake in this one. Some people are very, very attached to their roles. What I find interesting is that Makari means blessed in Greek. That's one random fact that I know in my brain. I wonder if that is actually, those of you who are more versed in the MCU or the Marvel universe, not even the cinematic universe, would have to let me know if that is ever discussed with this character, because I don't know this character. But the entire cast was announced. There were so many. Did I mention that there were so many announcements happening at San Diego Comic-Con over the past few days? It had to have been amazing if you were actually there to hear some of these announcements, to actually to be at the panels. Again, I've never been to a Comic-Con. I know San Diego Comic-Con is huge, and just wow. It's amazing. So one more Marvel-related announcement from the San Diego Comic-Con over the last few days, and that is that Kevin Feige has promised that the next Avengers team in the Marvel Cinematic Universe will be very different. What does that mean? Well, with their Phase 4 announcement during their Hall H panel. Needs a better name. Hall H panel. I guess it's descriptive. There were a ton of announcements, but some fans may have been disappointed that there wasn't a new Avengers movie announced, which is a crossing over, of course, of the franchises of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But rest assured, something along those lines is coming, according to Kevin Feige. After last night's event, the producer teased to MTV News that a very different kind of Avengers team is coming in the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So what does that mean? Well, he said it will be a very different team than what we've seen before. That's what Avengers Endgame was all about. It will be a very different incarnation of the team with some people you've already met and some people you haven't met yet. His answer came in response to a question about Young Avengers or any kind of Avengers team in the works from Marvel Studios, but his answer makes it clear that we might not be getting the Avengers at all, but something else entirely. So basically, he said, possibly something, possibly nothing. As any person who is in this line of work does so well. People are so good at saying nothing and making you feel like they've made a big announcement. But when asked why there wasn't a new ensemble superhero movie announced, he had a clear response explaining that the next phase for the Avengers will be taking place in the Disney Plus series and sequel films. He said, well, we got a Falcon and Winter Soldier show. We got a WandaVision show. We're introducing Monica Rambeau in that WandaVision show. Wanda Maximoff, who is probably near the upper echelons of power. I contend she would have taken down Thanos if he hadn't called the army. It was done. So her being the Scarlet Witch now, as Lizzie said on stage in a full sort of unabashed power-based way, coming into the Doctor Strange movie, that is two heroes coming together in a fun way. Yeah, that was a lot of words that didn't really, you could parse those forever. So we'll just see what this leads to and what's going to be next. I mean, obviously there's going to be a lot of things that will be next, but it'll be interesting to see how things play out. It is time for our first break of the podcast. When we come back, we'll be talking about maybe some more announcements, maybe something different. You'll have to come back and find out. Stay tuned. You're listening to the GSMC Entertainment Podcast, and I'll be right back.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now. Don't bother. What's hot on Netflix and everything in between. That's GSMCpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back to the GSMC Entertainment Podcast, where we have so many announcements. And we're going to move away from San Diego Comic-Con a little bit, although we aren't moving away from Marvel just yet. There was one more story that I wanted to highlight about Marvel, and that is not necessarily an announcement from Comic-Con, but the fact that Avengers Endgame has, in fact, broken the all-time box office record. It has officially become the biggest movie of all time, Disney confirmed today, ending the 10-year reign of James Cameron's Avatar at the top of the global box office. The epic finale to Disney-owned Marvel's 22-movie Infinity Saga. That's just crazy every time I think about that. The epic finale to a 22-movie saga. Wow. Story arc. And took in an estimated 1.5 million and home million. Okay, 1.5. I misread that. I was like, what? 1.5 million at home and abroad in its 13th week. Okay, to bring its total since its April 26th release to 2.7902 billion. Wow. Avatar, released in 2009, made $2.7897 billion, including its original theatrical run and various releases. Marvel Studios and its parent company preempted the announcement on Saturday, revealing that Endgame was just $500,000 behind as of Friday and would close this gap by tomorrow. That was a quote. And the coronation of Endgame was timed to coincide with the appearance of Marvel President Kevin Feige at the San Diego Comic-Con. So you can't escape San Diego Comic-Con. Feige said, "You have to shout out to James Cameron, who held that title for a long time. If you adjust for inflation, he still holds the title, and he'll probably get the title again as soon as he puts out another movie. But for right now, Avengers Endgame is the biggest film of all time." That is crazy and awesome, and I can't even fathom that amount of money, even though it's not even that it's not even that much in the grand scheme of things anymore. In other movie news, the TV show The Orville is possibly going to have movies. And oh shoot, I lied. This was announced at San Diego Comic-Con. I knew that. I just got sidetracked by the fact that we were changing subjects. But Seth MacFarlane announced that The Orville is leaving Fox. The show will move to Hulu, becoming a streaming exclusive beginning with its third season. MacFarlane isn't ruling out that The Orville might move to the big screen after this move to Hulu. The Orville came from MacFarlane's love of Star Trek. If you have seen the show, you know that it is it's so Star Trek, but not. That franchise, of course, also grew to include movies. Not each of the series has had movies, but several of the series have had movies. And during the Orville panel at Comic-Con, a fan asked MacFarlane if the Orville could go in the same direction as the Star Trek series. And MacFarlane says he hopes the series lasts long enough for them to start considering films. He's quoted as saying, "If we don't get sued," yeah, he's joking about the similarities between the Orville and Star Trek, "we always hope we will go long enough to see if we can do a film or two, but we'll see. It's a possibility." The Orville earned its first Emmy Awards nominations this year, and it's nominated in the Outstanding Visual Effects category for the episode Identity Part 2. What's impressive is that the Orville is the only nominee in the category from a traditional broadcast network. The others are either from premium cable networks such as Game of Thrones or streaming services, Star Trek Discovery, The Man in the High Castle, and The Umbrella Academy. That means the Orville was likely working with a fraction of the budget available to those other shows, and that pressure to stretch the budget as the Orville evolves to encompass scenes like the space battle in Identity Part 2 may be why the show is jumping to Hulu. If the series continues to up its visual game it won't be long before a jump to film does seem natural. So what do you think? Do you want to see the Orville on the big screen? I have kind of a mixed reaction to the Orville. Like, my husband watches it and I watch it with him off and on. It's like slapstick Star Trek almost. It's gotten more serious. In the first season I was like, it's just not right. I've gotten to like it as it's gotten a little more serious, but it still has those moments. I mean, the bridge crew was on the bridge one episode in their pajamas, which I guess makes sense if things happen in the middle of the night and you just rush to the bridge. But would Captain Picard show up on the bridge in his pajamas? No. So I mean, it's probably more true to life, but it just, I have this weird, like, this is Star Trek, but it's not Star Trek. I don't know where my brain should be. My brain should be moving on to the next story. How about that? This is I promise you, it's a non-Comic-Con related announcement. It is an engagement announcement, and that is that Rooney Mara and Joaquin Phoenix are engaged. I actually didn't even know they were dating. I guess I didn't pay any attention because they've been dating for several years. But they are engaged, according to Us Weekly. 2 months ago, the actress was spotted wearing a diamond on her left hand. She is 34 and Phoenix is 44. They met on the 2016 set of the movie Mary Magdalene, with Mara in the title role and Phoenix playing Jesus. They went public on the May 2017 red carpet for the film at Cannes. An insider told Us Weekly of the quiet couple, saying they mainly just like to be with each other as the two of them. They're in their own bubble. Well, congratulations to them. It sounds like they've been together for a while. And, always fun to have some good, exciting engagement news to pass along. It is time for our second break of the podcast. When we come back, maybe some announcements or maybe just some regular old entertainment news. You'll have to come back to find out. Stay tuned. You're listening to the GSMC Entertainment Podcast, and I'll be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the GSMC Entertainment Podcast. Before the break, we were talking about, some other kinds of announcements. And now we're moving away from announcements, away potentially from Comic-Con. Who knows? Everything happened at Comic-Con. I'm not being snarky. I really am not. It's just, it's cracking me up that everything that I found to talk about for this episode came out of Comic-Con, which makes sense. It really does. But this is... this next story just makes me laugh because it is one of those celebrities as kind of normal people, but still not normal because they're celebrities, and this stuff gets reported. And so apparently Sam Smith recently had a dream about Mariah Carey that he said was just the best dream he's ever had. And so he talked about it, and then she, of course, responded to this. Now, this is something that happens all the time, right? We have dreams, very strange dreams. I have really weird dreams sometimes, and I might tell my husband about it, or I might tell a coworker about it, and they'll respond. But it's not like it's happening on the world stage where people were, if I had a dream about Mariah Carey, she's not going to respond to it. Maybe she will. Maybe I don't know. She could be cool like that. So anyway, Sam Smith said that it was the best, that's a quote, dream about Mariah Carey. So just 2 days after the release of his new song, How Do You Sleep, the British singer shared a humorous dream that he had about Carey. He's quoted as saying, "I had the best dream last night. I was at a Mariah Carey album launch with all my friends, and she dedicated a no-no to me. Ugh, dreams. I woke up in such a good mood." This is what he tweeted. And see, you can do this on social media, and then people, it makes me laugh. It did not take long for Carey to catch wind of the tweet. In response, the singer jokingly questioned whether she was the inspiration for How Do You Sleep. So she tweeted, "So, ellipses, am I the answer to How Do You Sleep? I love," all caps, "the song, and I couldn't be happier than to be starring in your dreams, darling." DAHHLING. Darling. Smith's How Do You Sleep dropped Friday at midnight and was accompanied by a music video, which was directed by Grant Singer. And Sam Smith said ahead of the video release that this year, both personally and musically, I feel so free. More than ever, I have had so much fun making this record and this video. Time to dance, darlings. There's so much darling happening in this story. And, it's because there's awesome divaness happening, I think, between the two of them. So I don't think I've ever had a dream about Mariah Carey. Nothing against Mariah Carey. I actually like her a lot, but I don't think I've ever had a dream about her. But I love that Sam Smith put it out there and said, hey, I had this dream, and Mariah Carey responded. It's a Twitter love fest. Okay, moving on to a Harry Potter related story. You know, I love me some Harry Potter. Do you think it's time to redo Harry Potter? My husband says it is. It's been like 20 years since the first one came out, which makes me feel very old. It's been longer than that since the first book came out. But I don't know. I don't know that I'm ready. But they are rebooting everything. So do you think it's time for a new Harry Potter franchise? Would you want it to be movies? Would you want it to be a series? How would you see that? I don't even know. I can't wrap my brain around that one yet. I guess I don't have that vision. But this is a Harry Potter story in that there's a Harry Potter themed pop-up bar experience in Los Angeles, and it's hoping to bring a little childhood magic back to your grown-up antics. The Wizard's Cauldron is an unofficial but cool lesson in magic and mixology that makes you feel like you're taking potions class at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. I don't want to take a potions class. Is Snape going to be there? Is he going to yell at me? That sounds scary. Yeah, I know, I'm being literal. But in this case, the potions you'll be making are a tasty hot mead and another kind of boozy concoction. Here is how the Wizard's Cauldron describes their magical experience. Witches and Wizards of LA, behold, an immersive magical pop-up bar is coming to LA. Unleash your inner magical being as you brew potions, cast spells, and drink more mead than you can shake a wand at. This pop-up bar will mix magic and mixology in a simmering 90-minute experience. You'll don your robe and sip mead as you experiment in the ancient art of potion making. Concoct devilish brews for good or evil, all under the watchful eye of our wise potions master. Complete challenges to unlock your ingredients as you embark on your magical journey. That sounds awesome. Currently, there's only a waiting list to be notified when this event becomes available. See, they're being very smart. They created a waiting list, and they're creating the buzz so that people will be ready when it actually comes up. But so there's a waiting list that you can sign up for now. And for the price of admission, which has yet to be revealed, you'll get to wear a robe and wield a wand while you brew your alcoholic potions. But they'll have to be given back at the end of your experience. I assume that means the robe and the wand, not the alcoholic potions, because I'm assuming you'll get to drink those. If you want more to drink than the 2 potions you're cooking, there will be additional drinks and food available at the bar. For anyone who doesn't have the money to make it over to either of the Universal Studios locations, this might be a decent substitute for being unable to visit the Hog's Head at Hogsmeade. Maybe the other alcoholic drink will be a delicious butterbeer, but at the very least, it could be an interesting break from the usual Los Angeles bar scene. It sounds like it could be a lot of fun, and they're definitely hyping it up. So if there's a wait list, maybe they can hype it up and it'll be really popular and they'll do it again. Maybe they'll do it in other locations. I don't know, but it sounds like it could be a lot of fun, even though you do have to give back your robe and your wand. So don't try to sneak out with your robe and your wand. You must give them back. Otherwise Snape will find you and you'll be in trouble. So that would be, potions just makes me think Snape. And then Alan Rickman. That makes me sad. But I really wouldn't want a Snape impersonator to be yelling at me about my horrible potions making skills. I don't really want the other potions master either, though. Well, maybe he'd be okay. Can't think of his name off the top of my head. I just lost Harry Potter fan points. Oh, that's terrible. I'm sorry. I know Harry Potter fans, you're yelling at me right now because I have blanked on his name. Played by Jim Broadbent. Large man, disguised himself as a chair, has a walrus mustache. Wow. Slughorn, the Slug Club. Thank you. I feel better. I can sleep tonight. All right. On that note, it is time to wrap up this episode of the GSMC Entertainment Podcast. I hope you have a wonderful week ahead of you, and join me next time when we'll find out what else is going on in the world of entertainment. Thanks.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.